Welcome to Nobby on Cars with a slightly different twist on today's video. It's not a car review as such, but we have teamed up with Bridgestone, who have brought out the new Turanza 6, which is a new type of tyre that is aimed at electric vehicles, not just at electric vehicles, but if you think about ownership of electric vehicles, which are now potentially, you're in a used EV or you're on your second set of tyres, if you want to maintain that range, that OEM factory fit that would have come with your car, because you don't think about these things when you're buying a new EV, but when it comes to tyre replacement, it can save you quite a bit on fuel because you want to extract every last kilometre out of your EV. So I've been travelling around the north of Ireland, down here to Mondello. We're not quite finished yet. It'll finish up on the Nace Road today in this Bridgestone Volkswagen ID4. It has the Turanza 6s on the car, and there's plenty of cars still arriving as we speak now. There's tons and tons of electric vans, Mustang Mach-E's, a couple of Teslas. So very different kind of outcomes in terms of charging and how have some people got on, particularly with the infrastructure in Ireland. There's a lot of people talking about how good it was in the UK, and then when they came to the north, things took a little bit of a twist. But down south, which we are today, that seems to be a little bit back to normality. So we're just going to have a chat with a couple of people, a couple of world record breakers today who've done fairly amazing distances in electric cars without stopping for very long at all. So we'll try and find out, is there ways to change your driving habits as an EV driver in this video, and lots more here at Mondello. Catching up with Paul, who is quite an interesting story when it comes to EVs in general, and also in particular Ford Mustang Mach-E. Was it this actual beautiful yellow, or was it a different car?
Not this one.
Okay.
Is it yellow? Is it orange? It's hard to tell.
Somewhere in between.
So there are 2 Guinness World Record holders on this event. Today we're in separate teams.
Yep.
But we were driving as a team when we set the Guinness World Records in this car between John O'Groats and Land's End, which basically means driving very slowly for a very long time. The trick to fuel economy is to stay in the highest gear at the lowest speed for the longest time. And we decided that if you're, sorry if you were caught behind us, if you are not creating a red line on Google Maps, you're driving too fast.
So just for people who don't understand the geography, what's the distance between those 2 points?
Okay, it's 940 miles.
Right.
But also you go up and down the equivalent of the Himalayas twice when doing it.
A lot of regen braking.
So there's a bit of regen braking, there's a lot of very careful driving, there's a lot of making your choices very early so that you're arriving at every roundabout, every traffic light with a gap in the traffic so that you never stop. So on a previous world record, because I hold them in petrol and diesel as well, I think we braked 5 times in 940 miles.
Wow.
You just plan ahead.
So there was a bit of a charge somewhere along the way, surely?
The record charge from John O'Groats to Land's End is stopping once for 40 minutes. So on this event, we hope, fingers crossed, because we haven't finished yet, it's 5 days, it's 5 capital cities and 5 charges. And we're pretty sure we could have done it in 3.
Wow. Well, you're used to doing it in 1. So, what an interest. So 900, there you go. It can be done. But did you need relief drivers almost to?
No. When you're doing a world record type event, you are taking things to extremes.
Yeah.
So we had the AA Patrol of the Year driving behind us with his lights flashing, because you're going quite slowly down the main motorway in England, down the M1, down the M6 at 3 o'clock in the morning in summer. So you're choosing the least night, you're choosing the quietest time of day, you're planning to pass the big urban centres when traffic is lightest. So you're doing Manchester, Liverpool, Birmingham in the middle of the night when there's hardly anybody around and you've got protection behind you because you're doing 40 miles an hour. This is not a normal everyday thing. But the point is that bleeds through into how we can all drive in everyday life.
If we choose to.
If you choose to.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a fast car. There's no two ways about it. This is a fast car. If you try to drive it slowly and gently, you can save a lot of money. I said this to my kids when they were at university. If you drive like this, you can save your entire bar bill for the year. And do you know what? Back here home.
Yeah. Well, it can be done. Don't try it at home, and definitely don't drink and drive. But great to catch up with you, Paul. Thank you very much.
Pleasure.
Couple of other gentlemen I've met today on my travels. We have Richard and we have Kevin. Hello, gentlemen. Both different stories when it comes to electrification of vehicles. You drive a
Ioniq 5,
How long have you had it?
3 months.
You love it?
Love it to bits, yeah. Brilliant car. I've got an Ioniq 5 as well.
Are they the same colour?
No, hopefully not.
Excellent. So, Richard, obviously you work in Webfleet, which is part of Bridgestone, but
Yeah.
you have extensive experience even from the EV rally of driving through the UK, Northern Ireland, down into the south. What has been, if any, of the biggest drawbacks?
I wouldn't say it's a drawback. I just think people have to just plan, know your locations you're going, and just, it won't obviously be something there, but as we've experienced with you, local knowledge shows that there is really everything there to get us to where we want to be, even when areas on the face of it doesn't look like it has the support network for the infrastructure to make it work, but it does.
Yeah.
So it's just so what's been difficult, I suppose, my experience from the past is, when you're on your own, that's when it can get hard and a little bit panicky, but you've been my co-pilot today, and actually we've pushed the boundaries a little and proved that even with that, with the coaching that I've had in the past, even through other aspects before I got my own vehicle, knowing how to drive this piece of technology, you can remove the stress and the fear of potentially what the media would say is range anxiety or charging anxiety. Range anxiety.
Just to explain, I first met Richard last night. I made him drive from Newry to City North in Drogheda, and it was very fine.
It was a fine, yeah.
At some point it was like 25 kilometre range, 25 kilometres to the destination.
Yeah,
but we made it.
We did, and actually that's understanding through the coaching. I think, when you get in a new electric vehicle, really take the time to understand what it is you've just purchased and how it might work. It isn't a combustion engine. You don't always necessarily just get in and drive it. There's lots of capability in these vehicles to really get the performance and the assurity of getting to your destination when you need to. We didn't really panic. We knew that we were driving, and we knew that the way we were driving would get us to a destination if we kept the balancing of what we were doing. So,
although Richard is one of those EV drivers who loves looking for hills that go down rather than hills that go up. Although what must go up, but all that. So charging infrastructure across the UK, how did you get on? Were any challenges?
No, I mean there's definitely geographical differences. I would say that.
That's a very polite way of putting it.
I've been warned. Yeah, there is geographical differences, but again, that infrastructure has to move at the same time as the volume of vehicles on the road. There's charging infrastructure is not going to be at the finish line before the cars are there. So it's got a balance like that, and I think that's just a case of where each region of the UK is in terms of its development. There's some hubs starting to appear in England and like rugby and that, where you've got 24 banks of 25 chargers, but that's because the volume of sales in the UK market is requiring it to be built now.
So with your limited experience of the Republic and our charging infrastructure, we're only here a few hours. What's the standout thing that maybe you're saying, if I was in charge, this is what I would be doing?
Oh, that's a really. I think perhaps a little bit more with a little bit more power in there, a little bit more of the ultra rapids. I think certainly help the top up type charging. That means that your dwell times mean you can drop into service stations and you're actually charging when you're stopping and not stopping to charge. I think we've stopped to charge today, as opposed to at lunchtime, let's pull in here and we know there's going to be things to do a quick top-up charge. And I think that's the change bit that I would love to see. But it's no different. England was like that. Was like that 5 years ago.
Right.
You
So
know,
we're 5 years behind.
It's about 5 years, but it's evolving, isn't it? And the sales will. You told us in the car, the sales, the percentage sales, is it 18% now?
About 18%.
About 18% of sales. So that will drive a requirement for infrastructure, and the charge point operators will match it because they know that they're going to get the revenue streams coming if they put the chargers in the right place with the right power outputs, and it will start to evolve.
Kevin, we just want to talk to you for a second because you were a guy who. We were talking earlier on to Paul, who completed the Land's End Challenge in a Mustang Mach-E. You did something quite similar?
Paul was my co-driver, so we actually, there was 3 of us in the Mustang Mach-E, and we did the John O'Groats to Land's End.
So even with 3 of you, it was only 1 charge. How long was the charge for?
So the charge was 43 minutes and 17 seconds.
Which you'd kind of need to stop at that distance for anyway.
Yeah, we had more stops for the AA drivers to change drivers than we needed to charge.
Now, did you buy anything in the shop when it was charging that you didn't actually need to buy? This is one thing that comes up a lot.
Probably bought far too many chocolate bars in the shops on the way home.
As an EV expert, so to speak, people I'm sure ask you questions, friends who aren't quite sure of should they go electric. What kind of questions comes up time and time again, and what's your answer to them?
I mean, lots of people come up with the range anxiety thing. I mean, I started doing this in 2015 with a Renault Zoe, which would do barely 100 miles to a charge. So now it's a lot easier. Most of the cars you get will do 200 miles easily. And it's just the charging infrastructure in the UK is there. You don't really have to think. When we did Land's End to John O'Groats, we had to think and talk to the charging providers. At either end, there was no CCS charging, whereas now there's CCS charging everywhere. So now it's a lot easier to do it. So I wouldn't go back to a fueled car now. You get a car that fits you perfect. If you're just doing city driving, something like a Renault Zoe will be fine. But if you buy that to then go on long trips, you're going to have a bad experience because you've not looked at your requirements for the car.
When you came back then from your Guinness record-breaking challenge, did you drive faster just to get home?
May have been a little bit faster than the drive down there.
Obviously, one of the reasons we're here today, and it's no secret, is we're here with Bridgestone and the new Turanza 6 tyre. You've driven on it.
Yeah.
I don't need to be convinced about premium tyres and the difference that they make to stopping distance and everything. One of the benefits of this is that even in wet conditions, it won't affect your range. We get a lot of rain here in Ireland. How did you find the tyre?
Do you know what I find? And I'm not a timer. I work in a telematics business, and I've never really considered tyres. And this rally is the first time I've really had to consider the tyre, even if I'm honest. But we've had a couple of really heavy rain showers and really sustained rain as well, and wet roads. And driving it, we've maintained the same performance within a 0.2 of a mile per kilowatt hour. It really hasn't affected it. And we've had high winds as well. We've had some pretty windy conditions, and overall, the vehicle we're driving has maintained its efficiency. I'm not saying it's the driver, but no feeling of grip loss, and that again is comfort. That if you've got the efficiency, but you've also got the safety, it's like, well, you pay the money, don't you? You know, and you for that premium tyre, and at the end of the day, if you're in that car, not only do you want to get home safe, but you want to take your family home safe as well, don't you?
Absolutely, yeah. And you get what you pay for. Yeah. Look, thank you both guys for chatting to us today. It's been a really interesting journey. And I've only been on day one of it. We were in Bournemona's old plant earlier on today, wind turbines everywhere, and just the interesting way that power can be created. And it's a conversation that needs to keep on going. I think it's every day is a school day when it comes to EVs and tyres, and certainly just the point of the Turanza 6 was that it was for potentially the second customer of an EV, because they might get 40 to 50,000 kilometres out of a set of tyres and then worry about it. So food for thought today here at Mondella. We're not quite finished yet. We're going to finish off on the EV rally later on at Harris on the Long Mile Road. Have a look at the Insta Reels and stuff on my account, and I'll leave the links down below for Bridgestone's websites where you can find out more information about the sustainability and all those bits to do with the tyre. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll talk to you in the next one.